story started so well. The week before we were due to be off work, the weather was just getting warmer and warmer, and it was set to be the hottest bank holiday here in the UK on record, and me and Jen were all booked up to go down to the Essex coast and take the dogs down to the beach. We had a week looking forward to a week of total relaxation, and this was the sort of pictures and videos that I was sort of hoping to bring you. Also, we're going to obviously take Bella and Kenny and take them onto the park site where they can sort of run about and chase some ducks and things like that. And Kenny, of course, was only such a little puppy when we took him onto the beach in 2017, so he would have forgotten all that. So for him, it was going to be rediscovering that all over again, and obviously as owners we were really looking forward to enjoying that with him. Now, since we lost our last cat, and that was the one that used to scream all over my videos, we've been trying to encourage some birds back in the garden. We like to have a bit of wildlife in the garden, and we've been hanging up things in the tree for the birds to eat. But the one thing that we found was really popular was a plastic kind of hollowed out sort of log, if you like, which took these round suet logs, these completely sort of fat logs that contain mealworms and sort of seeds, and we found that one was very popular, especially with things like starlings. They would come down and completely eat the whole thing in about sort of 3 or 4 days. So we were getting ready, sort of getting us things ready to go away for our week down the coast. We'd bought all of the shopping that we needed. I'd even started sort of packing the car a couple of days before, and I decided that I would load up this log just before we went away, so that give the birds sort of something to eat. Now, unfortunately, maybe because quite a few birds were on it and the weight, or I hadn't tied it onto the tree, it fell down and landed in the garden. And unknown to us, when we let Kenny out in the morning, well, basically he had a right old time. He scoffed a lot. He ate pretty much 6 full suet sort of fat logs. And at first, he came in, he looked a little bit kind of full, and it made him sort of quite unwell. It gave him quite bad flatulence, which we sort of joked about, but as the sort of day went on, he started to vomit and sort of be sick, and then later on it gave him sort of chronic diarrhea. Now, we left it 24 hours to see if it would clear, but unfortunately it didn't, and because it was so unseasonably hot, Kenny became very quickly dehydrated. So my stepdaughter is a sort of vet nurse, so she suggested that it was an idea that we took Kenny to the vets, and we did, and they kept him in, and straight away they put him on a IV drip, trying to get sort of some fluid into him. And unfortunately, poor old Kenny, he went downhill quite quickly, and so we soon realised that he was quite unwell. Obviously this suet and this fat and the mealworms and seeds that it contained hadn't reacted particularly well to his body, and he'd sort of given himself a kind of a doggy food poisoning. His stomach had become inflamed and his intestines were inflamed, so it was like a sort of peritonitis, and they were pretty sort of quite concerned about him. They were giving him injections to stop him being sick. They were giving him sort of stomach suppressants. Of course he wasn't eating or drinking, but he was getting sort of some fluid on the drip, and he ended up having to stay in the vets for almost a week, and during all of that time he didn't eat sort of by himself. So obviously our coastal holiday was sort of cancelled. We were worried sick, and of course Kenny's never been away from home before. He's always spent his time with Bella, and the poor little guy, he was getting so kind of sort of down and sort of lonely and sort of depressed in the vets, and it was so hard. I mean, if you're a dog owner or an animal owner, you'll understand. It was so hard to go there and visit him, and then have to sort of go away and sort of leave him, and you'd be on your mind for the rest of that day and the rest of that night, and it was quite a hard time as owners, sort of knowing that he was there and he was so unwell and so unhappy. And I will admit, at one stage, I thought, God, are we going to get him back? He just hadn't eaten anything for sort of 5 days, and every time I saw him, he had lost so much more weight. And in the end, the vet sort of said, well, we've done all the treatment that we can, and maybe sort of bring him home to sort of try and get him less depressed, so he could sort of spend some time with Bella and sort of hopefully encourage him to eat. So that's what we did. We brought him home, but poor old Ken was looking very sick and very tired. So we got Kenny home from the vets. He's still not eating, so we're having to syringe feed him. Either that or he has to go back in and he has to be put on a drip, but they have to insert a feeding tube. So he's had a week in the vets, and he's feeling a bit sorry for himself. He's still got chronic diarrhea. He's very, very weak. He's lost quite a bit of weight, and he's He's about as weak as a kitten at the moment. But we are getting some food down him every hour, feeding him with a liquidised food with a syringe. He's feeling a bit sorry for himself, but hopefully he's on the mend, isn't you? Hey, he's not his old self. We've been very worried about him. I'm worried sick about him actually. He's been quite a poorly dog. But yeah, hopefully he's getting some rest. But it's a bit like food poisoning; it knocks it right out of you. Even walking across the room is quite an effort for him at the moment. But yeah, it's been a very worrying time. It's pretty tough when your animals are sick. But anyway. So what actually happened was we had that suet fat log feeder that I showed you, and I tied that up on the tree here, on this branch, and as I say, the starlings absolutely loved it, and I just refilled it with 6 fat suet logs the night before he ate it. And what happened was, in the morning, the starlings came, because it gets quite light early, the starlings all came out and ganneted it, and I imagine the weight of the birds just dropped it off of the tree, and it sort of fell down here. Unfortunately, fell down behind the carp pond, so from the house we couldn't see it. And of course we let Kenny out first thing in the morning, and of course he came round, and being a Labrador, he absolutely sort of loves stuff, so he ate six of those very high rich suet fat logs, which contain seed, mealworms, all sorts of things that hasn't done him any good. But I think it's just the quantity, the quantity of fat that he ate. And yeah, he came in and he looked a bit sort of slightly off colour, and the first thing we noticed really about him was the fact that he's had such bad flatulence. His arse was rank. You know, we were joking about it, and then he started sort of being sick, and then the diarrhea came, and then he just sort of went downhill very quick, and it wasn't so funny after that. But so I've removed, we had coconut fat dispenser things, and I've removed pretty much everything from the tree. I've still got the seed dispensers, but I'm thinking of taking them off as well. I just don't want to risk it, you know. I mean, it's a shame because we've had quite a few nice birds in the garden. Since we lost all the cats in the last sort of few months, we've been encouraging the birds to come into the garden. We do like the birds, but you know, just sort of can't risk it. So here he is. He's up on his feet, but you can sort of see the collar here. You know, the amount of weight he's lost. He's absolutely incredible. He's really sort of skinny around the sort of the stomach, and he's a bit rocky on his feet. But he's up and about now, just coming out for a wee, and then he's going laying down. He's as weak as a kitten. So this is how we're having to feed him at the moment. He doesn't like it, but he's being sort of force-fed this very high protein liquidized food there. And this is just some of the meds that he has to take. This stuff we have to sort of try and get down him. Even got some cream for his bum, because he's got a very sore bum because he's got chronic diarrhea. But just a word to any other sort of dog owners out there: if you've got if you're thinking of getting a dog, or you just got a dog, although it's expensive, take out pet insurance. I mean, we pay about £55 a month just for Kenny, and I think Bella's about the same, so just probably about £100 a month. So it's a lot of money, but just with the 5 days treatment in the vets, 3 ultrasound scans, so far 3 blood tests, and then we've got to take him back to the vets today to have a further blood test and 2 x-rays, and as I say, 5 days overnight stay and care in the vets. We're already over the £2,000 mark on the vet bill, and we haven't stopped yet. But thankfully the insurance will cover that. But if it didn't, that would be quite a huge financial burden. So, pet insurance is bloody expensive, but at a time when you've got all this to go through, it's a good thing to have. It really is. They're good lad. They're good boy. Hey, who's the best boy? Who's that best boy? Hey, who's the little dinky? She's loving this. She's getting extra as well. He's got a good old taste for that carrot. It's good to see though, bloody good to see. Hey, isn't it, Ken? Bloody good to see. Good lad. Good lad. Hey, good lad, ain't you? Yeah, good lad. Hey, good boy. So 36 hours now since we brought him home from the vets, and he's making progress. He's still not eating out of his bowl by himself, but Jenny's been hand feeding him, and he's eating some carrot today, and also a chewy stick, and drinking tea at the moment. Not quite drinking water on his own, but he's having a wee now. But yeah, he's making good progress. He's still quite weak, and he's lost about 2.5 kilos in a week, which is quite a lot. So he's got to put on some weight, but he's getting back into his old self. He's not really playing yet, and he's still a little bit sort of, a little bit down. But it's definitely sort of turned the corner. So we just need to get him to eat by himself, really, so that we don't have to keep syringe feeding him, because he's getting a bit fed up with that. Obviously, he doesn't like to be handled. But yeah, no, he's getting there. We're going to try and take him for a little walk today, see if that sort of bucks him up a little bit. But yeah, we've turned the corner. I feel much happier than I did a couple of days ago. Oh God, when he was in the vets, that was just bloody awful. Felt really bad about that. Really bad to come away and leave him there. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to sort of do a bit of video of him chasing around with Bella like he normally does. But and you can, eh? Well, it's been a few more days since I made that last clip, and I'm pleased to say that this boy is eating again, isn't you? And he's pretty much back to his old self. Still got a little bit of a runny bum, haven't you, Ken? But as you can see, he wants to play again, and yeah, we're very pleased with his progress. He is a completely different dog. Just got to fatten him up a little bit, because he has lost such an awful lot of weight. But there he is, look, running about. There he goes, hey? So he's had a lot of fuss, and well, a lot of money spent on him as well, but it's been worth it. And this is what I wanted to see all week. It's me bouncy, happy sort of puppy dog back again, wanting to play with his toys. So yeah, it's been a rather worrying, expensive lesson. And for those of you that have got pets, dogs, I never would have thought that those fat logs that I put in the tree there, I never ever would have thought they would have made him so sick. I had no idea. If I'd have had any idea at all, I would have sort of taken them out. I'm never going to put them back in a tree again. So just be a bit aware. If you put stuff out for the birds, make sure you've got it completely secured in your tree. Make sure your dogs and your animals can't eat it, because it has a real bad sort of effect. So anyway, I'm really happy that this is a sort of happy ending video. I don't know what I would have done if it had not have been. I don't know if I'd have been able to put it up, but there he is, a little bit skinnier. He always was a skinny rat, but he's certainly a bit skinnier. But there's the old Ken, hey? Ken? Just got to grow back his little fur. He's all got patches now. They shaved him at the vets, poor little sod. So thanks for watching this one on Fred 2. And as for now, as always, take care, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Stay safe.